Happy Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. To kick things off, I'll be talking about Jade Armor. Jade Armor is a French 3D superhero cartoon created by Chloe Miller and Corinne Cooper, based on a concept by M. Pongo Kaoi. It was co-developed by Mary Brendan, with MJ Offen as head writer, Gislan Paujou as story editor, and Dennis Do as co-director under the studio Team 2. The show aired on September 7th, 2022, and wrapped up on October 19th of the same year, with Season 2 set for 2025. The show follows Lan Jun, a teenager who inherits the mantle of the mystical superhero Jade Armor from her mother, and now must protect her hometown of Bangtang from the Crimson Lord, who has re-emerged after being defeated years ago after her mother sacrificed herself. Lan Jun also has to deal with other villains and the challenges of teenage life. The series draws inspiration from Chinese mythology, kung fu films, magical girl anime, and superhero comics. The show gives off similar vibes to Miraculous Ladybug. Both shows are 3D French cartoons that center around a Eurasian teen, with the aid of magical creatures that have to purify something from the supervillain. However, I would not call Jade Armor a ripoff, as there is plenty that sets it apart. For instance, Jade Armor has an Asian setting and emphasizes the importance of family and cultural heritage. Regardless, both can be enjoyed while compared and contrasted. The show follows a formula in which a shard of the Crimson Lord corrupts something in Bantang, causing chaos, and Lan Jun must purify the object before the Crimson Lord can take over, or other villains can get a hold of the shard. The show gets creative with the differing shard effects in each episode, such as a loudspeaker that silences those caught in its radius, dice that defy gravity every time it's rolled, a key that opens anywhere the keyholder thinks of, and my personal favorite, a remote that switches Bangtang genres to what the TV is on. The show primarily consists of episodic content, but it also features notable storylines throughout. Relationships are established and developed throughout the show with notable arcs. The finale also does something bold, which I won't spoil. Like my White Snake review, I will be referring to the characters' English dub voice actors, since I am part of the English-speaking audience. That, and I couldn't find the French voice actors. The lead, Lan Jun, or LJ for short, voiced by Ellie Haddock, is the 8th Jade and has much to learn while fighting the Crimson Lord. The showrunners wanted to create a female character who was both strong and feminine without relying on gender stereotypes or the tomboy archetype. While Lan Jun comes off as slightly awkward, she is genuinely funny. She is upbeat, but easily disorganized, as she tries to balance being a responsible Jade and an ordinary teenager, but often finds herself overwhelmed with tasks and responsibilities. As someone with autism and OCD, I can relate to her struggles. Aiding Lan Jun are 4 Beasticons, magical animals of legend, each representing the 4 elements and helping her form the armor.
Beasticons, spawn! Elements of all that's made, be my armor. Make me Jade!
First is Shenwu, the air tortoise, voiced by Morgan Freeman's son, Alfonso Freeman. Despite coming off as harsh and grumpy, he means well. Next is Shenlong, the water dragon, voiced by Lance Crawl. He's level-headed and loves to go philosophical. It makes sense that he's the water elemental because dragons in Chinese folklore are generally associated with water instead of fire compared to Western dragons. His name could also be a synonym for Shenlong, a dragon from Chinese folklore that controlled the weather. This leads us to Zhuchui, the firebird, voiced by Ann Yatko. Whereas Shenwu is harsh on Lan Jun, Zhuchui is the opposite, being understanding toward Lan Jun's teenage passions and interests. And last but not least, there's Bayu, the terror tiger, also voiced by Ann Yatko. The youngest of the Beasticons, Bayu doesn't speak and makes house cat sounds. Also, fun fact, Bayu's name means white tiger in Chinese, and she takes the form of one when Lan Jun goes into Jade mode. White tigers are also one of the 4 symbols of the Chinese constellations. Now we have Lan Jun's family. Liam Green, voiced by Jack Shallow, is Lan Jun's father, who specializes in deciphering ancient texts, and he is the only member of the family who doesn't know martial arts. The previous Jade Armor, Lan Jun's mother, Shin Kui, voiced by Jensen Olea, appears through flashbacks and other means. Then there's the Grams. Ji Shun, Lan Jun's grandmother, and her great-grandmother, voiced respectively by Kate Liu and Jensen Olea again. They are also proficient in battle despite their age. Next we have Lan Jun's friends, Alicia and Theo. Alicia, voiced by Jasmine Putin, is a goddess-tier deadpan snarker. Oh, and she loves boba tea. You do not want to get between her and her boba.
Hey, is that for me?
You know I need one for each hand.
Theo, whose voice actor I couldn't find, is a comedian in training. Oh, there is also Kai, voiced by Jeremy Ang Jones, the rebellious son of a wealthy family who owns the electrician business of Bang Tang, and Lan Jun's love interest. Him and Lan Jun are a cute couple. Now we get into the villains. Up first is the Crimson Lord, voiced by Jonathan Butler Duplessis, the big bad of the show.
God of power, reunite! Arise my armor for the fight!
He reminds me of cartoon villains from the 80s. More silly than intimidating, but still a legit threat. Also, is it me, or does he sound like Klaus from American Dad?
If this is another goldfish to keep me company, I'll thank you to place it directly into the toilet.
You will regret the day you crossed the wrong fish!
Accompanying the Crimson Lord is Will, another character voiced by Jack Shallow. Will works as a school janitor and is a distant cousin of the Crimson Lord, whom he resurrected by dropping a shard in a bucket of water. At first glance, he may appear to be a ditzy henchman, but he is actually pretty competent. There are two other villains Jade has to deal with, such as Jin Yang, voiced by Wallace Harmon. Jin Yan is the wood monkey beasticon who previously served the Crimson Lord, but now lives alone.
Let's get wild!
Jin Yan seeks revenge against humanity for the abuse he suffered at the hands of the Crimson Lord, and wants to, quote-unquote, free his fellow beasticons. While Jin Yan can be on the comedic side like his ex-master, it fits very well given the context of his character. Another villain is Black Tiger, aka Mrs. Bao, voiced by Jing Lucy, a cat burglar with a thing for capturing magical creatures and items of high value, while hiding under the cover of a shopkeeper of mystical items.
Techie, apply Black Tiger cat food.
Mystic goggles activated. Orb belt loaded.
Now, let's prowl.
She is my favorite villain in the series. Besides being on the more serious side, and stealing my heart, I find her the most interesting. She comes from a family of cat burglars and even has a twin sister.
Red Lion? It's Tristan again! They've nominated my evil twin for Crime of the Year? Ah!
She also has a pet rat named Jarbon, and a daughter, Pearl, getting into the family business under the persona Blue Lynx. Pearl, voiced by Anayi Puig, is also a classmate of Lan Jun. Pearl focuses on achieving good grades, and due to her mother's high expectations of her, she tends to come off as cold and rude to most of her peers. I appreciated what was done with Pearl, as she had more depth than typical mean girls, like Mandy from Totally Spies, or Chloe from Miraculous, which I will let you find out on your own. At first I wasn't fond of the animation style of Jade Armor. However, I warmed up to it. The show's artistic director, Perry Crocco, intended for their art style to have a graphic and minimalistic look, using 2D computer graphics with sharp-edged line work. The characters have appealing designs, and even the background characters stand out. The fictional city of Bantang has an identity of its own, and draws inspiration from Taiwan, but the animation truly shines in its fight scenes. The co-director, Dennis Do, being a martial arts practitioner, was able to contribute his expertise in this area. The showrunners brought in a stunt coordinator to film the action scenes on the camera, for the storyboard artist to reference. In addition, the choreography took inspiration from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Overall, I enjoyed Jade Armor. The characters were enduring, and the story provided a unique spin to unfamiliar concepts and great ambition toward the end. Sure, the animation took some getting used to, but it made up for in appealing character designs and well-done fight scenes. I see a lot of potential in this series. On my rating scale, I'm going to give Season 1 of Jade Armor 4 stars. So there it is, my review of Jade Armor. What do you think of the show? Let me know in the comments. Before I sign off, I'd like to give a shout out and thank you to Jesse Golo. I like his videos on Jade Armor and his other content. The link to his channel will be in the description. I have more videos planned for May, so stay tuned.